Welcome back. In this module, we will discuss more about digital identity and authentication. How do we move from passwords to passwordless systems? If passwords are increasingly unreliable, the next question is inevitable. What replaces them? Modern authentication does not eliminate passwords overnight. Instead, it reduces their centrality and weakens their ability to act as a single point of failure. The goal is not perfection, but resilience, making stolen credentials less useful, less scalable, and less profitable for attackers. This section explores how modern authentication systems work, why they are more resistant to abuse, and how passwordless approaches represent a shift in how identity is verified in digital environments. Authentication is about confidence, not certainty. Authentication is often treated as a binary decision. Either a user is authenticated or they are not. In reality, authentication is about confidence. Modern systems seek to answer a probabilistic question. How confident are we that this entity is who they claim to be? That confidence can be increased by combining multiple signals, not by relying on a single shared secret. This reframing is foundational to modern authentication. Multi-factor authentication, breaking the single point of failure. Multi-factor authentication, or MFA, strengthens authentication by requiring more than one type of proof. These factors typically fall into three categories: something you know, such as a password or a PIN, something you have, such as a phone or a security key, or something you are, such as a biometric characteristic. By combining factors, systems reduce reliance on any one of them. A stolen password alone is no longer sufficient. Why MFA is effective against credential abuse? MFA works not because it is complex, but because it disrupts attacker economics. Credential abuse relies on replay, using stolen credentials at scale. MFA introduces friction that attackers cannot easily automate. Even when credentials are compromised, attackers still need access to the second factor. This dramatically reduces success rates and increases detection. MFA does not make attacks impossible, it makes them inefficient. The limits of traditional MFA. Not all MFA is equally effective. Some methods, such as SMS-based one-time codes, introduce new risks. Phone numbers can be hijacked. Messages can be intercepted. Users can be socially engineered. Other approaches, such as push notifications, can be abused through fatigue attacks, where users are tricked into approving requests without scrutiny. Modern authentication evolves in response to these weaknesses. Context-aware authentication. Modern systems increasingly evaluate context alongside credentials. They consider factors such as device reputation, location patterns, time of access, and behavioral consistency. If context aligns with normal behavior, friction may be reduced. If something appears unusual, additional verification is required. This adaptive approach balances security with usability. Authentication becomes dynamic, not static. Passwordless authentication, redefining the secret. Passwordless systems remove shared secrets from the authentication process. Instead of asking users to remember something, they rely on cryptographic proofs tied to devices or identities. Examples include hardware security keys, device-based authentication, and biometric-backed credentials. In these systems, secrets are not typed, shared, or reused. They are generated and stored securely, often within hardware. This eliminates entire classes of attack. Why passwordless systems resist phishing? One of the most powerful advantages of passwordless authentication is resistance to phishing. Because authentication is bound to specific services and devices, credentials cannot be replayed elsewhere. A fake site cannot trick a user into revealing a reusable secret. Even if a user is deceived, there is nothing meaningful to steal. This shifts the balance away from attackers. Biometrics, strengths and misconceptions. Biometrics of fingerprints, facial recognition, and similar traits are often misunderstood. Biometrics are not secrets. They cannot be changed if compromised. Their value lies in convenience and local verification, not in remote identity proof. When used correctly, biometrics unlock cryptographic credentials stored securely on a device. The biometric never leaves the device. This distinction is critical. Biometrics enable strong authentication without introducing reusable secrets. Identity providers and centralized authentication. Modern authentication often relies on centralized identity providers. These systems manage authentication for many services, allowing consistent security policies, centralized monitoring, and rapid response to compromise. This consolidation improves visibility, but it also concentrates risk. A compromised identity provided can have widespread impact. Governance, resilience, and redundancy become essential. The human factor in modern authentication. Even the strongest authentication systems depend on human interaction. Users must approve requests, recognize legitimate prompts, and protect devices. Modern authentication reduces burden, but it does not eliminate human involvement. Design matters. Systems that are intuitive, transparent, and aligned with user behavior are far more effective than those that rely on constant vigilance. Why passwordless is a transition, not a switch. Passwordless authentication is not adopted overnight. Legacy systems, compatibility requirements, and organizational constraints slow change. Passwords often remain as backups or transitional mechanisms. The direction matters more than pace. Reducing password dependence reduces systematic risk. Why this matters for cyber risk? Many breaches persist because stolen credentials remain valid and reusable. Modern authentication disrupts this cycle. It changes the economics of attack and shifts effort back towards defenders. Understanding authentication models allows organizations to prioritize investments that produce outsized risk reduction. So, the key takeaways here are: modern authentication moves beyond passwords by replacing shared secrets with layered, contextual, and cryptographic proofs. It does not seek certainty, it builds confidence. By breaking the single point of failure, modern authentication makes credential abuse harder, less scalable, and less profitable. This shift is central to managing cyber risk in the AI age.